Hi, everyone, and welcome to Inside AWAI. My name is Rebecca Matter, and we have a full house today. I'm joined today by Pam Foster. Hi, Pam.
Hello.
And Helen Buttery. Hi, Helen.
Hello.
And also Katie Yeagle. Hey, Katie.
Hi. This is such a great topic. We all want to participate.
It's exciting. So today we're going to talk about, as you know, how to talk to freelance writing clients. The purpose of today's call and the reason it came up is that for a lot of writers when they're starting out, what they fear most is building their business, and usually it's because it's an unknown. They've never done it before. Just like that, talking to clients, it sounds like it might be scary, right? What if they don't know what they want? What if they talk about pricing? What do I do? What are we going to say? So today we're going to walk through some of the most common scenarios that you kind of have an understanding of how the conversation will go, so that when you have these conversations, they won't seem so scary and you'll have confidence to navigate them. So we're going to go through, I believe it's four different scenarios. So you'll help understand this will help you understand the client's perspective. You will know what to say and what to ask. We're going to go over pricing, timing, the big question, like how involved are you in the deadlines? What if they need something that you can't deliver in that amount of time? And other questions like that. We will get you ready for any call. Pam will wrap up with some great tips, and then making sure that you know how to move forward. Once the call is complete and everything has worked out as it should, she'll give you some tips at the end to seal the deal, if you will, to continue on down the path. So Pam, I'm going to hand it over to you and to Helen. I'll give you the presenter. And then if you guys, for the attendees, if you have questions during, feel free to post them in the Q&A. Katie and I will be in there. And then Pam and Helen should, at the end of one of the scenarios, if there be questions that are relevant to that specific scenario, I might interrupt you before you move to the next to ask you any questions about what's happening. So guys, as you're listening, those of you who are listening in, as they're talking and things come like, well, what if she had said this? Or I'm not sure I'm understanding why she said that, then by all means, write it in the Q&A and we'll either answer it or talk about it either during or at the end. All right, Pam, over to you.
Sounds good. Okay, so I just wanted to start by saying that we had a web copywriting intensive earlier this year, and we decided to do this kind of a thing as a follow-up to that event, and it went over quite well. And if you were here listening again, if you were part of that group, you're going to hear a bit of a different selection of potential clients, but it's really good to walk through and see how it'll work if you've never done this before. And the other thing too is that we saw on Facebook, one of our members posted, I understand how I'm learning how to write copy, but what is the process like? And I don't know if somebody's making noise, they want to mute themselves. We can hear some noise in the background, but they said, what is the process like? What do we actually do when we have a client or a potential client? So that prompted us to want to put this together today for you, because I'm sure that person was not the only one who's interested in this. So let's dive on in. One thing that's really important for you to know is that the client is not someone to be feared or someone that you're kind of begging will choose you. Basically, they need you. They need you because their business counts on their content working. Their business counts heavily on their website working, their emails working. So they're looking for help. So they actually need you a lot more than you need them. And they're just as puzzled about how all this works. They may not have hired outside copywriters before, or they may have a new position where they're in charge of marketing, but they haven't been in charge of the creative. So you get to be kind of the leader on all of this. You get to drive the car. You get to be the trusted authority on how this all works, and you will guide them with a system that makes them feel really comfortable, like they've called the wrong person. And that's what, the right person. That's what we're going to walk through. They'll feel comfortable because you have a process for even the intake and the conversation that initiates everything. Ultimately, they'd love to find a great copywriting resource. That's their main fear and desire at the same time. Like, am I going to find someone good? And then when you talk with them, they'll realize, wow, okay, here's a professional. Here's someone I know who can help me. So that is, you're solving their pain by being awesome when you first talk to them. And even more, that it's relief that they've found a pro. So not only are they looking for a good copywriter, but they need someone who knows how to keep the ball rolling, get the right information from the client, turn around and deliver good copy, and just keep that whole system going smoothly. And the first call makes all the difference, because that's where you set the tone as the professional, and you're providing guidance on how it's going to work. And it's funny because I have had, I've seen where some copywriters just kind of fling back, well, I write web content and it's $250 a page, and when do you want to start? And they haven't even taken time to listen to what the client is actually needing and looking for. They haven't even listened to what the client's all about. What is their company about? Who's their prospect? So part of this initial conversation is you get to ask questions as much as they do. And you can, and what it does is set the tone that you care, you're listening, you have a process, and you're a pro. So I wanted to just give you this link at the bottom, and it will be live when we do, when the replay video is on Inside AWAI. That link will be live, but we did a whole session on what copywriting clients really want and the insights into the different clients you might encounter. So I highly recommend checking that out. But what we're going to do now is go through 4 role plays where Helen is the client and I am the copywriter, the freelance copywriter. I've been on both sides of the fence, having a corporate background too. But this first client needs articles or blog posts for online traffic. And if you're joining us and you're not even sure what that means, I just wanted to show you an example before we get into the role play. So a lot of companies use a blog or articles on their website to provide amazing specific information that that audience would want to know about. So in this case, this is a company that sells equipment to dog grooming places, dog boarding places, and so we write blog posts about things that that audience would care about. And it's been really helpful for that company, because when the blog posts go out, this information gets found in Google and they get more leads and clients that way. So now we're going to talk, I'm going to talk with a role play with Helen as a customer who, a business who's calling me now because they want that same kind of traffic with blog posts or articles. So let's take it away, Helen.
Okay, ring, ring, ring.
Hi, this is Pam at Content Clear Marketing. How can I help you?
Hi, my name is Helen, and I own a company, and we do weddings, and we don't have a lot of money, but we need help. So we want to pull more clients to us. We need to find ways to get more clients. And we were thinking of starting an online blog, but we don't have someone who does that.
Okay, great. Can you tell me what the name of your website is? So maybe
sure.
We'll take a quick look.
Yep, it's weddingyourway.com.
Okay.
All the words run together like that. Yep, weddingyourway.com.
And here's an aside, you guys. These we made up all of these companies, so don't go to weddingyourway.com. There's no such thing. I made it up. So we wanted to come up with 4 different kinds of potential companies that you might come across depending on what kind of writing you're doing. So weddingyourway.com is not real, but we're going to pretend it is for this conversation. All right. So Helen, thank you so much for calling me. First of all, how did you find me?
Oh, I was kind of looking around online, and I came across your website.
Awesome. Okay, thanks. Well, so I see that Wedding Your Way is about planning affordable yet sophisticated DIY weddings, do-it-yourself weddings. Okay, that's neat. So,
yeah, we really have a kind of a niche market. We follow all the big weddings like Harry and Meghan Markle are coming up, and we then take what the look is for that wedding and we replicate it using ways to keep the cost down.
Oh my God, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Yeah,
and I'm sure there are lots of brides who would appreciate that.
Sure.
So a blog could be amazing because you could pick up on some celebrity phrases, you know, like the big Prince Harry wedding, and then bring traffic in and say how you can have something similar on a shoestring budget. That's really cool.
Sure.
So do you, what kind of audience or what kind of prospect is your ideal customer?
Well, our ideal customer is someone who's I would say middle class to the lower class. They want to get married. They want it to be nice. They want to do a lot of things themselves. Hence the do-it-yourself. But they really they want it to be more sophisticated. So they don't have tons of money, but they have some money to be able to invest in supplies and instructions and guidance. And that's what we're here to help them with.
Okay.
So it's women usually. We typically don't get the men calling us. Usually it's brides calling us. So it is typical women, probably anywhere from 20 to 35 years of age. We typically see our clients that are younger rather than older.
Ah, good to know, because that would really affect, the way you're speaking and your tone on the blog post and everything.
Sure.
And how do you plan to make money from the blog? Are you advertising on it? Are you mentioning products that they can buy to help create the DIY wedding, or?
Yes, so we'll have products that they can buy. They can also buy downloadable books that help them with planning. They have, some kind of step-by-step guides. Do this at this time, do that at that time. We partner with some companies, and we make affiliate deals with companies, so they pay us a portion of each sale. That kind of thing. And we do offer the service. It's out there of helping them kind of arrange things, telling them when to do stuff, but we don't really provide the wedding service as it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I initially can think of all kinds of different topics, from flowers to photography to table decor to music and everything. So what I would suggest is that you do a series. And so maybe 2 or 3 times a month, you pick a topic and you can roll it all out in an annual calendar, and then tie it to whatever might be happening with a big celebrity wedding or something. But have topics mapped out so you don't have to panic and worry each month, what am I going to write about? You'll have a really good plan, and I can help you create the plan, and then I can write the blog posts. And if you're excited about the idea of an ongoing series, we could talk maybe about a retainer arrangement, so that we're locked in for a year, and I'm going to be providing 3 posts a month or 4 each month.
I do want to have the ability to I don't want to be stuck on a topic. I want to make sure that the blog has topical information. So if something hot pops up, I want to be able to change direction a little bit. Not, so I want to be able to maybe throw in a new topic.
Absolutely. Well, we could have a list of topics and then be flexible, but at least if nothing exciting is going on that you feel we need to jump on, we'll have something in the wings ready to go.
Okay.
But I'd have a blast helping you brainstorm topics and coming up with great blog posts.
Right, that's good. Do you have samples? I mean, I've seen samples on your site, but do you have any samples that are a little personality-based, in terms of we're trying to go for the younger crowd, so it's a little hipper?
Yeah, it's not weddings, but I wrote a website and some blog posts on younger people who are owning pets. And we talked a lot about, there's a trend that younger people are delaying marriage and buying homes and things like that. And instead, when they're young, they're nurturing their pets. Their pets are their babies. And so we've been doing a lot of writing on that end. And I can certainly send you to that website.
Sure. Sure. Now, what do you charge for something like this?
Well, typically I charge $300 per blog post. But if we lock in a retainer, I can do a discount, so it's $275 a piece, because then I'll be knowing that I've got work with you for a year, and you'll have the same comfort in knowing that you have me for a year.
Right. I could probably do that if we could do 2 a month, but I would like to see your sample first.
Sure. I will send it right away, and I can tell you more about, how the blog posts keep bringing in more and more traffic over time. It's kind of like, it doesn't just live, it's not a short-lived thing. Blog posts bring in search traffic till the end of time. And you can even repurpose them and update them, and there's all kinds of things you can do with them. So that's really why you know, we've come to the fee range that we have for that.
Okay. Would repurposing them, is that something that you can tell me about and how we would do that?
Sure. So maybe if you want to have mini guides on things like flowers or music or photography or decor, all those things, you could put together after a year or so any blog posts that were specific to that topic and compile a report or a free special guide, something that will bring in more traffic to you as a permanent kind of handout that they can't get anywhere else.
Okay. Okay, is that something that you do as well?
I can, yes, absolutely, sure.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think, you know, if we could start just with talking about blog posts, and then I think, you know, after we get some, then we could kind of talk about that later.
Great. So what I'll do next then is I'll put together a proposal based on everything we discussed, and I'll send it to you within the next 24 hours, and then we can go from there.
Okay, great. So here's my email address. You can just send it there to me, okay?
Terrific. Thank you so much, Helen.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Okay, that was number one. Notice that I made a lot of suggestions about what I can help her do, and the more suggestions I offer, the more business that is for me. So everybody wins. And I also brought up the retainer agreement, which you may not have thought about before, but if you can lock in something for a year where you know you're going to have steady income from that client, and you could even expand on that, but at the very least you've got this locked in month-to-month income. It's a beautiful thing. So
Pam, somebody has a question. David has a question. He wants to know, if you're fairly new and don't have a nice germane sample handy, you know, what do you do? Would you offer to write something for them? Like if you didn't have a sample that was kitschy and in a younger voice as they requested.
Yep. I've actually had that question asked of me before, and even I used to work for LL Bean a long time ago, and when I applied for that job, writing for the catalog, they had me do a sample, and I was glad to do it. And so maybe you can do a sample post for them, and you know, they can, and even it's a little risky, but it could pay off huge if you even offer them, you know, go ahead and run that one, just please put my name on it, no charge. But if you like it and it works and you're happy with it, let's go forward.
Right. Would you ever write a proposal, you know, give them a sample of some of the writing that you've done that's closest, and then write your proposal letter in kind of that voice that they're looking for?
Well, that's kind of a creative, cool thing. Sure. I mean, my proposal's pretty similar from client to client, because I don't really like to spend too much time reinventing the proposal document and spending a lot of time on it if they end up saying no. Right. So I have a template I work with, but if you want to be creative and do something like a blog post type proposal, that would be kind of cool. I love that idea.
Okay, great. Cool.
All right. Are we good to go to the next one?
I think we are.
You are.
Okie dokie. So this is role play number 2, and we're talking about websites here. And I just wanted to show you an example of a website I found that was pretty good, but it's for a fitness studio in a specific city. Now, it was really hard to figure out which city, so that's a problem. And you may encounter that when you're helping a client. You may look at a local business website and be surprised that you don't see the location, and that's so important, because if someone's looking for a fitness studio in your town and your town isn't mentioned anywhere on the website, your website might as well be invisible. It's that important. So even a simple thing like that, I just wanted to bring it up as something I see very often. You know, they're not using the right words on their website, and they're not using persuasive copy. So now we're going to do a role play. Helen is the marketer again. I'm the freelancer, and let's see what she has for me.
Ring, ring, ring.
Hi, this is Pam at Content Clear Marketing. How can I help you?
Hi, this is Helen calling from Fitness IT Solutions. I was, I'm sorry. I actually got your name from some friends of mine and someone who might be able to help me.
Wait, Helen, we have the wrong one. The second one was the fencing company, with the local fencing company.
You did the fitness thing on
No,
the
I was just showing an example. Sorry about that.
Okay, let's start that all over again.
Improv. Yep.
Ring, ring, ring.
Hi, this is Pam at Content Clear Marketing. How may I help you?
Hi, my name is Helen from Drysdale Fencing. I've got a problem with my website, and I got your name from some friends of mine. They said that you work on websites and that you might be able to help me.
I do, absolutely. And thank you for calling me. First, I would love to know what your website address is, and so we can take a look.
Sure. It's drysdalefencing.com.
Okay, let me get that up here. Alrighty, and I see that you offer fencing and fence installation, so materials and installation.
Right, yeah.
Wow.
We sell to both businesses and consumers.
Okay.
We do really a variety of fencing options. And we can do homes and businesses and municipal buildings. We are located in Springfield, Oregon. And
I was going to ask you, yeah.
Yeah, and we just don't seem to be getting any people from our website. It's just kind of odd. We've had our website up for about 6 months to a year, and so we were talking about it, and my friend told me that that's something that you work on and that you've had good success with. So I thought I'd call and just see what you think.
Well, I thank you for giving me that background. That's I love the work. It looks incredible and gorgeous. And if I lived in your area, I would totally want to buy your fencing.
Well,
I think that you touched on something that is a very common thing that's overlooked, not because it was intentional, but I don't see the word Springfield, Oregon anywhere on your website, or Central Oregon, or anything that indicates Willamette Valley, or anything that's local, so that what's important in search engine results now for local companies is the location has to be really obvious on your website. Because if people have to hunt or guess, and even if Google has to hunt or guess, it's not going to work because they won't find you.
Okay.
So I know that I could fix that problem really easily by weaving your location into some key areas of your website.
Okay. Okay, how much does that cost?
Well, I also just wanted to, before I answer that question, there's another piece to this. I think you have a lot of very large pictures and not a lot of copy at all on your pages from what I'm seeing here. And Google really needs to help people find helpful solutions, whatever someone's searching for. So if someone in Springfield is looking for a fencing company to do installation and all that, they would like to know why they should choose you. Beyond the pictures that are fantastic, they need some sales. You need some sales copy on there that sets you apart. So in addition to adding your location to the copy, I would also be highly recommending weaving in some great content that explains why you're awesome and why they should pick you and the areas you serve and all of that stuff. So it's kind of a cohesive approach.
Sure, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So to answer your pricing question, I usually charge about $500 a page, which includes many elements. It's knowing where to put the copy. It's the kind of content that sets you apart and helps people make a buying decision to choose you. There's also a lot involved in making sure I'm using the right key phrases or search phrases that would help Google find you and match you up with people looking for fencing in your area. And then there's something we could look into as far as a free guide to which kind of fencing is best for your home. There are lots of things we could do that make people think, wow, this is the only place I should be going to for my fencing. So, and then
we have about 20 pages, and I'm not sure we have that much money to spend. We're a pretty small company.
Yeah, well, we can do a couple of things. We can do this in phases. So maybe your first 5 pages, the most important pages of your site, like home, about us, our fencing options, that type of thing. We could do that first and then add some very specific pages later. How does that sound?
That sounds better. Do you have any information that you can send me to look over?
Oh, I absolutely can. I can show you some websites I've written, and I have some testimonials from clients who have been very happy with the results of my work. And also, I'm going to say to you guys, I happen to be a fencing industry copywriter, so I'm going to say to Helen, and how did you find me, by the way?
Like I said, I had a friend of mine who I was talking with who happens to work in the industry in terms of products and whatever, and they mentioned your name. I was telling them that my website didn't seem to be working.
Ah,
yeah.
Okay. So, guys, what I want to do, and just break the call for a minute here and just do an aside, if you're in an industry, if you're focused in an industry and you are optimized, your website says, I do websites for the fencing industry or the fence and installation or yard fence, I guess is the only word I can think of, then one of the greatest answers to that question, how do you find me, is the client will say, well, I Googled copywriter in the fence industry, and your website showed up. And then you're like, aha, so that's a sample of my work. You found me because my website has the right content in it, and when you searched, I came up. So that's happened to me a lot when I was in the pet industry. I still am, but I had a website, petcopywriter.com, and my first question would be, how did you find me? Or they'd say, does SEO really work? And I would say, how did you find me? Well, I typed in copywriter pet industry, and there you were. So it's almost like a given that that's my first sample, and that might be something fun for you to do. And we have a lot of Inside AWAI programs on how to market yourself, how to choose a niche industry. But that's just an aside because I was hoping Helen would say that, but it's okay. All right, so then we would wrap up the call with me offering the same thing, to do a proposal within the next 24 hours and outline.
Right, and then I would ask you, okay, once I get your proposal, what's the next step?
Sure. So what I do is to really understand your audience and your mission, I have a creative brief, which is like a questionnaire that I can send you, and that's where you get to tell me what makes you incredible and why customers would choose you, and what kind of region you're trying to reach. What decisions do businesses take or make when they're trying to buy fencing for their company versus consumers, and whatever you can tell me about your audience. Okay. And sometimes it's cool if you have your salespeople fill it out too with you, because they hear from the street what people are worried about or interested in.
Right, right. And we do sell both to companies and to consumers. Is that something that we have to handle separately?
Well, I think you would definitely want to differentiate that on your website. So you'd have business owners or something like that as one section, and then homeowners as another, or residential and business.
Right, okay. So maybe as we're phasing it, maybe we can do those in different phases so that we make sure to, really focus on the right people, because they are different why they use us.
Oh, I would imagine so, yes, and the decisions are different too.
Yeah.
So I can definitely help you with different messaging for those two audiences.
Okay. Okay, I look forward to getting your proposal.
All right, I'll be back in touch very shortly. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, any questions or comments on this before we move on?
I have 2 questions for you, Pam. On the role-playing, you had mentioned something about $5 per page. Ricky's wondering, does that include writing content blogs and graphics for each page, or just to fix a page that already exists?
Well, usually, if the website isn't working, you need to fix the whole page. Even if there's copy there, it's probably not organized very well as persuasive sales copy. There may not be a call to action. It may be big blobs of narrative text, and you have to break it up into bullets and user-friendly copy. So to me, when I'm doing those kinds of projects, it's a given that I'm going to rework the whole page. And so we take it page by page, and the blog I have separate. So I'm talking about the core website, which is the static content that's always there, like home, about us, services, product categories maybe, FAQ page, those kinds of pages that are always on a website. And then we'd talk about the blog separately because that's going to be kind of a moving, evolving thing. So I do usually phase, I break it into those two buckets where it's the core website, let's take care of that. And it's $500 a page to research the keywords with you, get your buy-in on the right phrases to use per page, and then I write the copy, they approve it, we make tweaks as needed, and that's it. But there's a lot to it in behind the scenes, so it's worth it.
So the other question is about optimizing your website. You had mentioned about, proving and showing them, which I think is a great idea, especially that actually happened to Steve Maurer. They said he was presenting search engine optimization to them, and they said, well, how do we know that you can do what you say you can do? He's like, well, how did you find me? He's like, right. And then all of a sudden the client laughed and said, well, we Googled you. And he's like, and where did I show up? And they said, no, number 1. He's like, well, there you go. There's your proof right there. So I love that. But so this is about putting your location on your website. Like, I know it's important if you're going for local clients, but the two concerns, one, if I put my location on my website and I'm marketing nationally, does it hurt at all? Does Google think that we're trying to only draw prospects from our local area? And the second question that's similar is, do you have to put your location if you're marketing nationally?
The only reason I would put my location is if I'm really excited to find clients or attract clients locally. And it all depends on where you are. If you're in a big city, like I was coaching a client years ago, and she was in Seattle, and we just for fun looked up Seattle copywriter, and man, there were a lot of searches each month looking for a copywriter in Seattle. So we were like, we're going to put that on her website, and it makes a big difference. But if you're in a small town and you don't think there's going to be a lot of business for you in that town that has budgets that are big enough to hire you, then you don't even have to worry about the local part. And I have put my location on my website always, but I don't think I've worked with local clients, I don't know, maybe 1/5 of my clients have ever been local, and most of them I've never met in person.
So, Pam, yeah. I wanted to ask a question. So let's say I'm a national company, or I sell nationally, and I just happen to live in one area, or my business is in a town, but I sell nationally. I sell books online publishing books. I want to put my address on the page because for credibility, for people who are worried about refunds or just worried about who my company is and they want to double check me. And so as that company, I would put it down in the footer. Is that okay, or is that not really needed?
No, that's fine. It's what, let's just think about how Google reads a web page. They read from top to bottom. Okay. So if you put something in your footer, that's fine. It's not going to be the first thing Google sees. So if you happen to be a copywriter for the fence industry and you have that in your headline, like brilliant copywriting for the fence industry or something, sturdy copywriting, no, never mind, that's terrible. I was trying to think of a slogan for copywriting in the fence industry. But Google will see that first because they read top to bottom. Right. And so whether a client is down the street looking for you or across the globe, in Canada, wherever, looking for you, if they type in copywriter for the fence industry, Google will know that's a match. Right. And where you are is irrelevant to Google. It's more about if it matters to the client.
Right. So if the client says, I want my address on there for credibility, not because I'm looking for business in the town, you put it as low on the page as possible.
I just don't want to get confused. So we're talking specifically, I know Helen has she's going a different angle, but just so everyone's on the understanding, the original question was about a copywriter's website, and I think the answer was it really doesn't matter. If you want local clients, then you want to put your location, you want to put it high up on your website, like what Pam was saying. If you are going nationally or going even internationally, it really is up to you. Some people like to say, hey, I live in Austin, Texas. Other people don't want to. It doesn't really matter if you don't, there's really no benefit or negative for putting it on. What Helen's talking about is more of your potential clients and whether they're going to put their location on. And I believe all businesses who are, selling products and things like that need to have their location on their website for credibility. It makes people feel more comfortable doing business and buying products when they know that they can find these people should they be dissatisfied with their products. But why don't you guys run on to the number 3 because we're running short on time.
Okay. So the next one is about B2B, business to business. And that is where I'm just showing an example here. It's not related to the call, but it's just to explain what B2B is. In case you're not sure. It's emails, landing pages, case studies, websites, any kind of copy from a business supplier to their business clients. So in this case, it's a market research report here on cloud-based storage. So that would be where a company has all kinds of data and they need to store it somewhere, and this report is about storing it in the cloud. And you can get the free report if you fill out this form with your name and email, and so they've captured the email that they can then follow up. And so that makes sense, hopefully. And so the client role play is the third scenario we're going to go through now. It's not about software or anything. It's about a different kind of business, and Helen will tell us what that is.
Okay, ring, ring, ring.
Hi, this is Pam at Content Clear Marketing. How can I help you?
Hi, my name is Helen Buttery, and I'm with a company called Fitness IT Solutions. We sell software to the fitness industry, and we're just needing some help in the marketing area. We're not pulling the right people to us, and finding we don't seem to be able to reach the decision makers at fitness centers the way we want to.
Aha. Can you tell me what your website is? And I should have said, first of all, thank you so much for calling me.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So the website is fitnessitsolutions.com.
Okay. Let's look that up here. So, okay, I see that your software runs fitness centers.
Yes.
And so it helps companies that are running fitness centers do all their
Right. It helps them with scheduling and customer management, billing and training records, inventory, staff, all sorts of different business things that fitness companies deal with.
Okay, that's awesome. And have you, what have you been doing so far? Have you been using email and different types of materials to try to reach out to them?
Well, not really. We've been doing some cold calling and trying to get to the right person, but that always seems to be a really big challenge. We do have people who have found us through our website, but not as many people as we would like. And so we're trying to figure out a way to have our website reach the person that we need to speak with, or figure out a way to do that.
Okay. Well, I know that some powerful, well, first of all, email is a great way. It's still one of the #1 ways that companies are reaching clients or customers and getting business from them. It's still that powerful. And I write emails every day, so I could certainly help you with that. And then you think about, well, where do the emails go? So we also have landing pages as an option. And let's say you're giving away a free report or a video demo of your software, and email will drive people to that. So that's kind of fun.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I could help you with a demo video and have a landing page for that. And then one big, huge thing in B2B is case studies. Do you think we could put together some happy customer stories that you've collected over time of customers using your software?
Absolutely. I have 2 buddies here in town who run fitness studios, and they use the software and they love it. They tell everybody they know about it.
Awesome. Well, I mean, because that is so powerful, we call it peer-to-peer proof, where one owner of a fitness studio or fitness center sees how another one has thrived because of your software. That feels really comfortable to them instead of only just hearing from the company itself. So I could absolutely help you write some powerful case studies.
Okay. How do we get started?
Well, I can put a proposal together, and I can send you some examples as well. And I have a testimonial from a client, not in the fitness area, but in the software area, so it's relevant. And I'd love to, have you feel 100% comfortable, and we can go from there.
Okay. Okay. And I know you talked about putting a video demo together. How would people find that?
Well, we would have a landing page for the video, and we would write copy. Well, two ways. First, we would have emails that would drive traffic to that video demo landing page. We could also do some Facebook advertising or LinkedIn advertising, since it's a business venture. And then the copy on the page itself where the video is, we'll make sure that it's written in a way to attract fitness center owners who are looking for software solutions to run their businesses.
Okay, that sounds okay. So why don't you just tell me about that, and I'll look forward to getting your proposal.
Great. I'll put it all together in the next 24 hours, and you should plan on receiving it tomorrow. Okay,
that sounds good.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All righty. Do we have any questions about that?
Nope, that was a good one. Easy peasy.
Okay. Well, what's fun is just keep piling on the ideas. Because business to business, one thing that's interesting to know about them is that a lot of times the buying decision is not immediate. You're not just going to go online and buy a $10,000 piece of equipment in one decision. There's usually a committee. There's sometimes, you got to see peer proof. You've got to see a video. You might want to even read reports or other things. So it's a longer buying cycle. And every piece of that buying cycle could include copy that's written by you. So that's why I love to pile on all the ideas, and they're just like, yes, 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 as Helen was. It was good.
Right.
All right. Last one is my favorite because this is the client who just doesn't know what they want. They're not sure what's needed, and they're looking for guidance, and they know that they need to be doing something, but they're not sure what. And this is where you can swoop in as the hero of the day and offer suggestions that will make them feel like, A, you know what you're talking about, but B, you can really help them. So let's try that one out.
Okay. Ring, ring, ring.
Hi, this is Pam at Content Clear Marketing. How may I help you?
Hi, Pam. My name is Helen Buttery, and I've got a fairly new company, and we're doing pretty well, but we just don't have the time to do the marketing. I have no idea what we need, but we've kind of hit it off well with a select group of people, but we want to grow more, and we just don't even know what we need to do.
Okay, well, thank you so much for calling me. I'd love to help you out. I'm sure I can. What is the name of your company or the website?
Sure, it's greencleanbox.com. Green as in the color, clean as in I'm not messy, I'm clean. And,
okay.
And box, like something you would put inside a box. Greencleanbox.com.
All right, and I'm trying to, let's see here now. And tell me about what you guys do.
Sure. Well, we're pretty new, like I said, but we are doing kind of a specialty program. We have green cleaning products. Try to say that 5 times fast.
Yeah.
And we ship a monthly box out to people so that they always have the cleaning products that they need, that they can get them at a good price, because we can kind of forecast our needs with how many people we have. It's kind of like those meals, that homemade meals that are sent to you. Now we're doing that with green cleaning products.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
Those kinds of shipping programs are very popular now. There's one for dogs. There's one for makeup. So
Right.
this sounds brilliant.
Right. And so we kind of partner with some suppliers, and we do a lot of trial sizes so they can try different products in the green cleaning industry.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And are the partners marketing your services at all, or are you kind of on your own in that way?
We're kind of on our own. We
Okay.
kind of approach them, and so they're not sure. I think we could have them partner if we really started to get some movement going. Like I said, we've kind of got a small group in the niche, you know, but we're trying to kind of explode like the shaving company, you know, the Dollar Shave.
Sure, yeah. Ooh.
You know, we're trying to kind of explode with that, or the makeup bag, Zipsy. We're kind of like that. We're trying to really hit a good market that wants to try different things, wants to know what's the newest on the market. And so we're kind of in a precarious situation right now because we, you know, we want the suppliers to be more invested, but we have to have the traffic for them to be more invested. So it's kind of, we're trying to figure out how to do that.
Okay. Well, your website looks pretty good. I think there's some things that I would tweak about it, and I would make sure there's a very clear offer that is just irresistible, and we can talk about different ideas for that. Whether it's a little discount or if there's something that is a freebie thrown in that they just have to have that's related to green cleaning and eco-friendly cleaning. But we could also do some advertising, some PPC advertising on Google, which is and Facebook too, because we find when you can really target people interested in eco-friendly cleaning, it's so much more powerful to just target them with a strong message and get them to your website as quickly as possible.
Right.
So
we were also thinking, you know, we want to kind of get something viral going, you know, but we really don't know anything about video or anything. Is that something that you know anything about? I mean, we've seen, obviously, some things that work, but we need some help we don't want to just spend money and throw something up where we don't know anything about it.
Sure, I could absolutely help you. We could think about some really fun ideas that, like Dollar Shave. I mean, you won't want to try and be like them, but
no.
Something that's fun and that gets the message across, or even, you know, an environmental campaign of some sort that is very fresh and current. We could definitely talk about something video or you know, live Facebook where people are cleaning or doing things and showing how your product is amazing, but maybe put a twist on it so it's entertainment as well. We can definitely brainstorm some ideas on that.
Okay. So where do we go from here? I mean, that sounds okay.
What I'd like to do is think about it a little bit and think about, you know, there are like 75 different ways you can promote your business, right? But what would be some things you can start with and then build upon? And I'd like to take a little time, like, you know, a day or two to think about that and come up with a proposal for you. And it would probably involve beefing up your website in some way to make it even more of a call to action, a more desirable reason for them to act now, plus some advertising ideas and a viral campaign idea, and maybe some press. And maybe we can also get your suppliers involved in some way. I've just got to think about it a little bit.
Okay, that sounds good.
So what I'll do next is I would like to send you a proposal with my thoughts, and then what we would do is go deeper into really understanding your audience and what you do that's unique. I mean, I think I know, but it doesn't hurt to go through a questionnaire and make sure I know exactly what you're all about. Okay, well, I'll send you my proposal in the next 2 days. Let's give me 2 days, just because I really want to think about it. It's a different kind of request. We're piecing it together here.
Okay, that sounds fine.
Great.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
I look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Thanks so much. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. All right.
Hey, Sam, before you go into the wrap-up, I have 2 questions about that one that are just really good questions. One is, where'd it go? How do you, I always ask you this one, so how do you handle it when you feel that you're not a good match with the caller's project, or you just don't feel good about working with that potential client, you don't want to waste your time? How do you wrap up that conversation in a very nice way?
Yeah, I mean, I've had to do that before, and someone didn't have any money, or they wanted. Oh, I had a great one. I had an ad agency owner who wanted me to optimize their website, but they didn't really want any copy on it because they wanted it to just look cool. So
Oh, yes.
I just had to say in a very kind way, you know, what I do is I write content, and I write enough content so that Google, you know, shows your page up. And if you don't want that kind of content, if you feel like it's visual clutter, then I'm not the person for you. And I respectfully step aside. So I'm very honest about it. And if I can, I might recommend someone else who would be a better fit, which is always a nice out. So that's pretty much what I do. And if I get the sense that they're going to be jerks, or it's something I am so not familiar with, like writing about the cloud, I mean, that's not my thing. I'll be honest, and I'll try to refer somebody else.
So that goes to the next question: is what happens if the client asks you for something that you don't do? So let's say they ask you for video. Do you try to refer them, or do you try? I mean, I guess you could try to take it on too. There's probably two answers to that question.
Exactly. There are two ways to do it. You could take it on if it's about the script writing. Heck, we've got a program on that, so you can go, sure, I can do that, and then go to AWAI and grab the program that's relevant. Or you can bring in a partner, bring in a colleague to team up with you on this. I have friends who are web developers, and over the years, a client will say, well, I'm really glad that I have you as a copywriter, but I also need a totally new graphic design. Do you know someone? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And then we team up. So it could go a lot of different ways.
Excellent. Okay, I'll let you finish wrapping up, and I'll come back around with more.
All right, so we wanted to leave you with, after these role plays, with just some pro tips for any call that you get. And it could be something that drops out of the sky you're totally not ready for. You didn't solicit them, but it's an awesome lead that calls you. What do you do? Well, let's go through that. So you want to have a list of questions at the ready whenever. And you saw me ask every time, what is your site's domain name? Because I wanted to get a quick look while I'm on the phone with them at what they're all about, so I can have an intelligent conversation with them. Another one might be, why do you feel your website or your marketing or your emails or whatever isn't working? And that's where they kind of open up and tell you, gosh, we're not sure, or we're so disappointed. We spent all this money on a designer, and we're finding that it's a slow-loading website, and we don't have the copy on there that should be, you know. And then you become a therapist sometimes, but it's in a good way, because they're trusting you with solving their problem, and that's what's so awesome. That's what I mean by, you're not really going, oh, please pick me, pick me. It's more like, I can help you. I'm a professional here. I'm going to ease your pain. I'm going to, you know, so it's a whole different role reversal there. And then what's the main purpose of your site? You want to ask them, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to generate leads? Are they just trying to get clicks to a free report? Are they trying to get someone to watch a demo? Are they trying to get someone to just buy right there on the spot? You know, what is it? And so you just have these basic questions, and you guys heard me go through some of them. So you're all, no matter what, whoever calls you, you've got a list on your table, and you just pull it on over and just start talking, and that shows that you're prepared. Also, be sure to listen. And I get enthusiastic and sometimes jump over the caller, as you noticed, but I really am listening very hard at not only what they're telling me, but what I'm seeing at the same time on their website as they're talking. Because Helen told me that the fence company was based in Springfield, Oregon, and I didn't know that by the website. So I could instantly put together what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, and then I repeat it back and offer tips and expand on the conversation in a way that's steering them towards seeing how I can help them. So like I said, you want to look at the website together. It's quite often about a website. It really is. That's the hub of where business is, and if their website isn't working, it's going to hurt them no matter what kind of traffic they drive there through other means. If people are stumbling when they get to the website, it's like all that effort was wasted. So you want to start by looking at the website and seeing what the impression is that people get. And then have a fee schedule. We have a pricing guide, and we have a pricing program. if you go to our website and go under free resources, you'll see that we have a pricing guide which has the fee ranges for 75 different projects. But then Elise Benin also created a program for us where she walks you through pricing and negotiating and discussing pricing and being comfortable with that, because a lot of people hate that. I started out just hating that, but you saw me just frankly state it's 500 a page. How many pages do you want? Because if they're serious, they won't just dismiss that. They'll either go, well, I don't have enough to do the whole site. Can we do it in phases? Or they'll say, you know, good, let's go. If they're not ready for that price at all, then you make a decision if you want to work with them for a lower fee because it's giving you a great example and a testimonial, or if it's just not a match and you move on. So that fee schedule, you won't have to come up with something off the top of your head every call. It won't be painful like that. You'll already have this sheet that you refer to for every project. It's awesome. And then do deliver the proposal quickly. I said, I think in every role play, 24 hours, 24 or 2 days. You want to be very specific because you don't want to leave the client hanging like, well, I just talked to this copywriter, but I have no idea when they're getting back to me. You don't want to leave them feeling like that. So say what you're going to deliver and then deliver the goods. So if you say you're going to deliver it in 24 hours, be sure that you do and make it a very professional proposal. We have a program called Essential Business Templates for freelance copywriters, and this is a sample template of what a proposal would look like for a freelancer. The link there will take you to that program so you can see more about it. But you want to be very organized and structured and have tools at the ready so that you can just seize upon any awesome opportunity that comes along and not have to fret about it, frankly. So after you have that call, then assume that they loved you. Very, very quick story. I didn't know this, but a client called me looking for copywriting help for their website, and they also had called another copywriter. And I sat and listened and asked questions like you just saw. The other copywriter just sent an email and said, hey, you know, this is what I charge. When do you want to start? Blah, blah, blah. And, of course, the client picked me because I listened to them. I cared enough to find out what they need and what they're about. So I got the job, and I want you to do the same. I want you to get the job every time. So make sure that the proposal, it recaps the client's needs. Like I hear that you need more traffic to your website. How you can help, I can absolutely do that by enhancing the copy that you have. Include the desired outcome. That means you'll get more Google traffic. List the specific deliverables. We're going to work on the home page, the About Us page, this page, that page, with the prices, and then assume it's going to be a yes. We call that an assumptive or presumptive close. Shall we start next week? Or when would you like to start? Or I can begin in 2 weeks. Does that work for you? Make it a very assumptive closing on it, that you assume they love you and we're going to get going. And then they may come back and say, oh, I have a whole committee that has to decide. It might take another month. Or they'll be like, yes, let's do it. So always go for the yes. And that is it in exactly 1 hour. Woohoo! So from here, we can stay and answer questions. And Katie, Barb, and a bunch of us are here to answer your questions. And I'll just start looking at the prioritized ones.
No, we are answering them.
Oh, okay. So tell me what you'd like me to answer, if there's anything.
So this one came up, we've answered it, but I wanted you to discuss it. People noticed that you didn't really talk about pricing at all. So I'd like for you to address what happens when I basically said, typically you don't want to talk pricing over the phone if you can avoid it, because you want to put together a proposal that really demonstrates the value of what you're going to be what you're giving them before you strike your price. But what do you do when someone asks you or forces, well, what do you charge for this? How would you navigate that conversation?
Well, there are two schools of thoughts. Actually, there are many schools of thought on pricing and how to discuss it. And Elise's approach is different from Steve Schlonwhite's approach, is different from Nick's and mine and everybody. So I'm pretty frank about it. Because I work mostly in B2B, business to business, and they have budgets. Believe me, they have budgets in a business setting for this type of stuff. So I will often ask them what their budget is, and it was awesome. One time I was talking to one client, and it was a community college in a major city, so they have committees that have to approve expenditures. And I said, so what kind of budget do you have? And she goes, well, as long as it's not over $20,000, then we don't need to get that second tier of approval. So I said, well, I can do it for $19,500. Like, thank you very much. And they're like, okay. So ask them if they have a budget. A lot of times clients will. They know what they want to spend, and they know what they can't spend. And if they can't spend it all on you now, you could, as I did, offer to phase it and say, well, I wouldn't. You could also offer to cut your price a bit. I wouldn't cut it so low that you feel like you've just given your work away and your time. But there are circumstances where it's a company you really feel passionate about, like the startup that sells the green clean boxes. Maybe they don't have a huge budget because they're a startup, but you really believe in their product and you want them as a client because it's a good feather in your cap and you'll have a good sample and a testimonial and all that stuff, then maybe it is good to say, well, if you've only got $2,500, let's spend it this way. And then as you grow, let's talk again, and maybe I'll start doing some blog posts for you, and we can talk about that budget. So assume you're going to start a relationship, and there's other opportunity down the road with them. Does that help?
Yes. But what if you don't want to talk about price? So the person, let's just say, not saying that they can afford you or can't afford you, but you really want to think about it and put together the scope, and they keep asking, you know, well, what do you charge hourly? I just want to know what your hourly rate is. What do you charge for a blog? How do you tackle that?
I usually don't try to send them what's the word? I don't try to ignore their question because they clearly want the answer. And they're going to feel like you're skirting them or making stuff up if you're not going to answer them. So how
would you answer if I was asking for your hourly rate, knowing that hourly really isn't something that we price by? We usually price by the scope of the project.
Well, I guess if there's maybe been one or two times where I've been pressed to do that because I was working with a company that hires freelancers, and that's how they are set up. They're set up to do hourly rates. So I'll just say, all right, if I have to, then it's $150 an hour. Just if I have to do this, if I have to say this.
Yep.
And it's typically going to be okay if I have a rate like that. There are very few times where people will insist on that, but I've run across that a couple times. So.
Excellent. Regarding prices, I address this thoroughly on my website. This is something others could do than direct prospects to the website. Well, let's talk about that for a minute, putting prices on your website. Talk about another one that is lots of schools of thought of whether you should include your prices or not on your website. Pam, what's your perspective on that?
My gut reaction is do not put it on your website because they've never even met you yet. They don't know how awesome you are, and they're just price shopping. And until you can talk with them, you don't have a chance if they're only shopping by price, because someone will always be cheaper. Like, you might as well go to Elance and try to bid, you know? So I wouldn't do that. I would absolutely have a conversation first, show them how awesome you are, and then bring up the prices when they ask you after they're like, wow, this person's great. Then they'll
because all blogs are not created equal. Two different writers. If you just go by blog is charged X dollars, you have no idea if the person understands your industry or what they're writing about, or if they have any good ideas. Like, all of that, I would rather pay for a very well-written, well-thought-out, relevant blog post than save money on the blog post and not have it be relevant or well-written, or, you know.
Exactly. There's a big thing about this, and you don't need many clients to succeed in this field, and you want clients that really you get along with, and they get along with you, and that you appreciate each other's value. And so if they're just price shopping, they're going to miss out on knowing what you bring to the table.
All right. Well, this was great, Tim. We got a lot of just like, this was really helpful, and hearing this, someone said we should do this with all of our programs to walk through these scenarios.
Sure.
You guys did a good job. All right, guys, any other questions? You can ask anything. This is our open Q&A at this point. So if you have any questions about what you heard today or building your business or anything.
I just want to mention one more thing.
Yeah.
So there is another program that we're updating because it's a bit older, but it takes this and then plays out the whole scenario of working with a company and a client. It's called Working Effectively with Web Clients, and we're updating it as we speak, and hopefully in late May it'll be ready, fully updated. But it goes through this phase, and then, okay, they said yes, now what do I do next? So it goes through all that, all steps till the end of the project. Just wanted to mention that.
Sorry, I'm typing too.
Okay, I was gonna say.
This is...
Oh, someone said, what does the intake questionnaire look like for exploring the client's needs? Well, that was kind of that question, the questions I had previously on the slides. Let me go back whipping through. This one here, you know, what is your site's domain? What do you feel isn't working? And then what's the main purpose of your site? You will have other questions such as, who is your ideal audience? How are you different and better than your competition? You know, why would they choose you? You go through a series of questions. And again, we have this program here that would help you know what kind of questions to ask. I think we also, no, we didn't do that yet. On another Inside AWAI, I was going to say, did we go through a list of questions, but we really didn't.
Ricky's using the pricing guide. She's talking about for them pricing. So I posted a link to our pricing guide. Pam actually updates our pricing guide every year, and we send it out to the industry so that marketers and companies know what to expect to pay professional writers for various projects, and so that copywriters know what to charge for the various projects. So it's free on our website. We publish it every single year, and I've posted it in the Q&A as well.
Okay, I'm seeing lots of other questions. I'll just quickly whip through here. Kyle, after you complete the web page adjustments, do you actually have to upload them? Usually clients have their web developer or a whole team. It depends on the size of the company. But they don't usually expect the copywriter to upload content or do any programming or design. Now, I am comfortable with WordPress, so with a few very small companies, I've been able to get in their back end of the WordPress and add the copy myself and the tags and everything, because I'm really comfortable with that, and I charge them for that. But you're not expected to. Let's put it that way.
What percentage of business is conducted on the phone versus in person with clients? I think you answered this before. But
90%.
I was going to guess that too, but I was just making it up, which is why I literally have it in my thing. Like I was ready to hit enter. I thought I better ask just to see what she thinks as well. That's funny.
Well, that's me. You know, I mean, if you're in a big city and you really want to work with clients that are in the local area, then you might have turned it the way around. 90% you meet in person. But I have never needed to. But when you're in a niche industry, like I was with veterinary, and I still am, I go to the conference once a year, and I do see some clients there. So, but working month to month, it's all online, all on the phone.
So what about firing a client? Tell us about an experience where you've had to fire a client. How do you do it?
Well,
what are some reasons you might have to fire a client?
They keep expanding on scope without being willing to pay more. So can you also do this, and can you also do this, and we also need that, but we don't have any other budget for it. Or they're just not fun to work with. If you get up and you're dreading having to talk to a client, it's time to let them go. Sometimes it just fizzles out. Like I was blogging for maybe 4 years for a company, and they got kind of tired of it, and I frankly was a little burned out too, and so we respectfully said, you know, let's maybe pick this up another time, and it was perfectly fine. If you feel that someone doesn't value you, or they're just being a complete jerk, then it's okay to respectfully say, you know, I've been looking at my client base and my schedules, and I've just gotten so busy that I need to scale back on some work, and I think this one's I'm gonna let go of this one. So you can be respectful about it, and then you hang up the phone and do the happy dance. Woo! Got rid of that.
And we're done.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I think It's all, I've been fired before, and I've had to do firing too, and you just want to, you always want to do what you said you were going to do. If you said you were going to write me blogs, for the next, for 4 blogs or whatever, you want to finish out the project. You don't want to leave a client hanging because that doesn't, represent you professionally. But it's totally okay to hit a point and say, I think it's time for us to separate ways. I have another person I'd recommend to you, or you might want to find someone else like this that would be a better fit for you based on what you need. But like Pam said, don't fear it. Just get it done and then dance.
Yep. Someone wants to know what a landing page is. It is separate from the website. It is basically very single campaign focused. So if you're trying to get people to download a free report, you might send them to just a landing page about that free report.
So underneath that question, I'm also going to post a glossary, a link to our glossary. If you guys haven't seen this yet, it's pretty neat. It is a very, very comprehensive glossary of every marketing and copywriting term you could possibly think of. And if for some reason you come across one that is not in the glossary, please email us. We would love to know what it is, and we will find the answer for you and post it. We want it to be the most comprehensive glossary out there, but it's free on our website. And if we ever say anything that you're like, what is that? Just go there for a good example.
And Ricky's asking, do most clients know who their ideal audience is? And if not, how do you get that? Well, you could just talk to them, like, what's your buyer like? What's the buyer that sticks with you? What kind of person are they? Do you have mostly women ages 40 to 60, or do you, they'll have a general idea. They better, but you can keep asking probing questions as the investigator that you are. And you have to be able to write good copy that resonates with those people. So just keep digging and asking about that buyer and see if they've got testimonials or customer letters, or they've done some profiles at all on the website of their, like B2B. Sometimes they'll have a case study of a company that's their perfect buyer, and that will give you some clues into that. Hopefully that helps.
And if they don't know who their audience is, that's a little bit disconcerting to me. Because it's hard to be, especially if it's the business owner or the lead marketer or someone whose job is to either create the product or sell it. They need to know who their audience is. Otherwise, they really shouldn't be in business. So if they don't know, you might talk to somebody else first or ask, like, are there other people in the company that you could interview just to get a feel for who their audience is? Because that would trouble me.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, Nora. I see you there. Here's a question. Is there an optimal time to ask for testimonial? As soon as you complete any project, the first project or a subsequent project where it was a big win and everybody was happy and they're like, oh, thank God we found you or whatever, you definitely want to say, hey, do you mind if we do a testimonial of you saying that so I can put it on my website? And sometimes the easiest thing is to write it for them, because they may not be testimonial writers. So say, thanks for saying that. Can I just write that up and use that as a testimonial on my website? And they'll probably say yes, because they just told you they love you. So send them by email a write-up of what they just said, and then ask for their permission to put it on your site or wherever you're marketing yourself, and then you have it. So that's a really good question, and it's a great time to ask just when you've gotten a win with them, when you've delivered something they're very happy about. Best time to do that.
Even like super senior, older, not senior like age, but senior as an experience, copywriters do that. Like Bob Lai, I was on a webinar with him, and afterward I wrote him just saying that was such a great webinar and gave him some specifics as to why I really enjoyed him teaching. And he replied back saying, can I post this on my website? Like, I've already said something nice, it's the perfect time right then. And if they don't, if it's by phone or they haven't quite put it into articulate words that describe it well, you can always offer to write it for them. Like, I'd love to put that thought as a testimony on my website. Do you want me, can I write something up for you, and then you can edit it? And that way, it's easier for me as the client to edit something really quick. I've offered to do testimonials to people and just never get around to it because it's not a top priority on my list at any given time. But when a writer writes me and says, I'm looking for something like this, can you edit this really quick? It takes me 15 seconds to put in the words that I would choose instead and send it back. So I agree. That's a great way of getting them done fast. Can you answer the question from Shauna? You mentioned, Pam, that seeing people had searched for Seattle copywriters. What kind of tool were you using to see that information?
Well, there used to be something called Google AdWords, and they've kind of gotten rid of that access for people who don't spend big bucks with Google advertising. But there are many keyword research tools out there that are free. If you just Google free keyword research tool, I think there's one, keyword.io, that Heather Lloyd-Martin mentioned. I think Word Tracker and Keyword Discovery have free versions of their software. So you could just go in with any phrase that you want to search, and they come up with a variety of related phrases that might be great for you to use either on your client's website or your own website.
All right, guys. Looks like I was looking up in the chat really quick to make sure there wasn't anything. There's a couple up in the chat. So for someone new to all this, setting up a web page to me sounds necessary. Is that true? Yes. You're definitely going to want to have it. I would start with a LinkedIn profile, and we have an Inside AWAI on how to properly set up your LinkedIn profile. But you will want a website ultimately as well when people are searching for, like Pam said, Seattle copywriters or solar technology copywriters or whatever niche you specialize in. For those of you going through the virtual business building intensive that starts next week, we'll actually go through all of this in detail. We'll help you pick your niche. We're going to help you create your marketing message. We're going to put up your website with you. We're going to build out your LinkedIn profile. We're going to do all of this with you. So if you're going through that, we'll take care of it. But otherwise, definitely plan on at least getting started with a LinkedIn profile. And we do have something on that on the Inside AWAI page.
There's a wealth of, I was going to say there's a wealth of helpful information on that Inside AWAI page. Just scroll down all the topics, and probably every one of your questions is answered in one of those.
Excellent presentation. It's so very informative, but I'd like to just say that I'm wondering how long it takes to master such techniques in writing, as my worry is that I'm just a beginner. There's no right answer. Nick Osborne always says that's like asking how long is a piece of string, because every person is so different. What I will say, though, is that no matter where you are today, you can get a basic foundation in persuasion in a matter of 10 weeks. You know, we walk people through our accelerated program, which is our flagship program, through something called the Companion Series. Katie and I just wrapped this up this week, actually yesterday. And we walked them through the entire program in 10 weeks, and they now have a solid foundation with some writing experience and a couple of samples now as well. So you'll get that foundation fairly quickly. One thing to keep in mind now, and Bob Wise says this all the time, for the professional, school is never out. You're going to always be learning. You're always going to be getting better. Every year, I feel that my writing gets better, and I look back at stuff that I wrote and think, oh, gosh, this is really bad. It was my best at the time, and it was good enough, but it's not as good as I can right now, you know, so you're always getting better. So don't worry about being a beginner. If you go through any of our programs, you will have more proven skills and knowledge than most of the clients that you're going to be talking to. And you can literally just spit our stuff back to them. You know, everything you learn from us, from our programs, give it to your clients, teach it to your clients. You will immediately realize how much more you really know. And from their perspective, they will see your value and assume that you know a lot more as well, that you are more experienced. Just by going through our programs, the way that we teach what we call the AWAI method, everything that we teach is not only intended to give you a very good understanding of what you're doing and the intention behind it and why you're doing it this way, but it gives you the hands-on assignments and practice so that by the time you finish one of our programs, whether it's case studies or white papers, writing emails, doing social media, you've already done the job, so you feel more competent in what you're doing, and the rest just comes with time. You know, the more you do, the better you'll be, the more confident you'll be. So don't worry about being a beginner. Just get out there and start getting some experience.
Yep, and if you are a beginner, no, that's okay. We have a question about what if you're brand new, do you cold call? And you certainly can. That is one way, but we have a whole bunch of different ways to reach your first client. And again, if you go to Inside AWAI and scroll through, you're going to see a number of different presentations we've done on getting your foot in the door with a client, landing your first client, that type of thing. And there's usually, oh gosh, next month we're going to do 27 different or 26 different ways.
26.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that one, because that's...
I forgot about that, guys. Yeah, our next topic actually is going to be 26 ways to get clients.
Yep.
So if you thought you got a lot of information in one of these other webinars, just wait till we run through 26 different ways to find clients in under an hour.
Yep.
It's going to be rapid fire.
Woohoo.
All right.
I think we're almost done.
All right, guys. I'm going to do last call. Ready? Going once. Going twice. We've got a lot of people who are in the companion series with us. Yay.
All set?
I think so. Sorry, I'm just giving everybody kudos who went through the accelerated training program.
Yep.
Or through the companion series. Please expand upon how and who uploads the content to the actual website. Most clients that you work with will have a technical person, unless you're working for like a solo professional. And even then, usually they still have someone that put up their website to begin with that they use for the technical stuff. It's very rare that a copywriter touches anything technical. Usually you just send your words in a Word document, and that's it, and the company takes it from there.
Mm-hmm. Unless you want to be the web person too, and that's fine if you have those skills. Okay.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for all the love that you're sending now. It doesn't look like there's any more questions. So with that, great job, Pam and Helen. This was very useful for the attendees. I'm happy that we did this. Remember, guys, that all of these Inside AWAI ideas come from you all. So if there's something that you want us to cover in the future, by all means, please email me at askrebecca@awai.com. Our email addresses have changed from AWAI Online to just awai.com. So email me your ideas. Like we said, next week we're talking about 26 different places to find clients. The month after that, we're actually going to be covering niches again, but from a not how to choose a niche, but rather going into the various niches in direct response. So we'll talk about financial and fundraising and self-help and nonprofit or self-improvement. No. Financial, fundraising, health, self-help. There they are.
There you go.
So we're open. So if there's anything you want us to cover, just email me and we will tackle it. And with that, it's a wrap. Closing up our April Inside AWAI. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Thank you, Katie, for helping with questions as well, and Barb, you too, and Fran and Andrew. And thank you all for being here today. And with that, we'll see you next month. Bye, everyone.
Bye.